let's talk about chemistry, okay? Some of you probably went to Media Day last year with your team, okay? Media Day where the coaches, players go and a bunch of reporters around and everybody asks about your team. They ask a bunch of silly questions that nobody can possibly answer because Media Day is before practice even starts usually. Or you have it at your school, right? Take the picture and the media comes and asks questions, right? Okay? And everybody pay attention because here's the one thing 90% of the people at Media Day are going to say. Man, our chemistry is awesome. Our team chemistry is so good. Okay? Early in the season, you may like one another. You may love one another. Okay? But your chemistry as a team hasn't developed yet. Okay? Chemistry is something that comes through tough times. Okay? I took chemistry class in high school, did a really bad job. Okay? I passed. I did pass. Here's what I remember about chemistry. All the cool stuff we did in chemistry involved that thing with the flame. What do you call that? What's that? A Bunsen burner? Is that what you call that? Right? So you had the Bunsen burner and then you put something on top of it and it either steamed or blew up or bubbled or boiled or whatever. But all the cool stuff had that Bunsen burner, okay? And that's because chemistry is all about heat, okay? Your team chemistry is going to be all about heat, okay? What happens when the heat's on? Okay? What happens when somebody gets hurt? What happens when you lose a couple games in a row? What happens when a player that thought they were going to be a starter, not so much? Okay? What happens when somebody breaks the training rule and the coach has to have discipline? Okay? That's when you develop that team chemistry. That's when you find out what you're about. And that's the thing that binds you together. That's the thing that gives you that team camaraderie, that team chemistry. A lot of people call it culture, right? Culture is kind of the buzzword now. That's when you really know you have chemistry. That's when all the work you did about building a family shows itself, is in those tough times, okay? The team that had the best chemistry that I have ever coached. Okay, I had a team at Wake Forest. It also was the team that's won the most games in the history of Wake Forest, but that's coincidence, I think. It probably helped a little bit. Okay, that team had the best chemistry of any team I've ever been around. Okay, and here's what that team went through before Christmas. We buried the mom of one of our starters. Okay? No dad in the house, no uncle in the house. She had to make all the arrangements. Mom had cancer and died. And our team, our family had to come alongside of her, help her make the arrangements. Everybody got in a bus and drove to her hometown, went to the funeral. And it was hard. It was not good. Okay? 2 weeks later, our starting point guard, okay, she had a dad with a substance problem. Okay, he'd been doing okay. It came back around. Her mom had to have her dad arrested and put in jail because he broke into the house and was stealing stuff to sell for drugs. A week after that, one of our team captains blew their knee out and was done for the season. Okay, now that sounds horrible. Okay, what a nightmare that sounds like. Okay, we've got all of it, right? And what I can tell you is that because that group had done the work to know one another, okay, and because that group was serious about having good team chemistry, coming on around one another, supporting one another, being there whether it was good or bad, right? That group had the best chemistry of any team I've ever been around. I still have, okay, in the phone, right? We have a group text with that team. That was 10 years ago. okay? And most of that team and the coaches that were on that staff are still on this group text, and hardly a week goes by where we don't either, happy birthday, or I saw this on Facebook, or whatever. It's not always serious stuff, okay? And so that chemistry gets developed when that heat's on, okay? And it's not easy, but it's the thing that binds those teams together, okay? And so the thing that I would encourage you, don't be afraid of the heat. The heat's your friend, okay? A lot of times when something goes wrong early in a season, okay, people they freak out, right? Everybody gets edgy and, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? Put your arms around it. The heat will come on your teams from players who aren't playing as much as they think they ought to, right? An injury in the fall. Players that are mad at their coach, right? All that stuff's going to happen to every team. Somebody's going to be academically ineligible. Somebody's going to flunk a drug test, right? Your coach is going to have to step in and have some kind of discipline, okay? Your job's to lean into that, not run away from it, not judge it, and sometimes not even try to fix it, but just to lean into it and be supportive. That real chemistry that great teams and great programs have, that gets built and that gets exposed when there's heat.